Hey, Julie, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You guys need to have like your online reality show of this kind of old house, doing some renovations. You can become a reality show star with this.
I don't want to talk about it.
Incorporate that into your brand. Come on. Is it more like the Tom Hanks movie, The Money Pit?
No. We have a great builder.
Okay, that's good.
Everything's good. It's just stressful, It's just stressful. I'm very happy to be in the studio right now.
I can imagine. Well, listen, if it makes you feel better, a couple of days ago, my wife says, come here and feel the floor here.
Oh, no.
In the bathroom. A little spongy.
No.
So, yeah.
Is it leaking?
Yeah, so I feel your pain. There was a leak that I thought we took care of, before it became a problem. But no.
Nice.
So I feel your pain.
Yeah.
And, listen, you've been trying to get away from all of the renovation stuff. The baffling rise of Goop, which was a piece of The Atlantic. You and I have talked about Goop before, not only because it's a silly name, and I'm glad that you're here. This is Gwyneth Paltrow's website. The last thing I saw about Goop before I read your piece, Julie, was they were selling, and I'm not kidding you, psychic vampire repellent at Goop.
Yeah. The thing she sells, I think the most disturbing thing is some of her advice on things that will cure depression. I mean, it's funny to laugh at Goop. And again, Goop is just such a dumb name. But, about a decade ago, Gwyneth Paltrow, bored, thought, what can I do with my time? And started this sort of lifestyle website where she gives people advice on things like, how to waste your money on $500 T-shirts. I'm not kidding. That's true. And other things. It's just like a fantasy website. I mean, nobody lives this way except the super wealthy. And so she gets made fun of a lot, and it is fun to make fun of her. But there are some serious things. She's put out there some quite dangerous suggestions on how to treat very serious things like depression. She had one article on you can get rid of a parasite by sitting in a bath of goat's milk or something. I mean, people need real medical care for some of these more serious problems. So again, it's fun to make fun of her, and she's a gift that keeps on giving. She just makes such a fool of herself constantly that you can make fun of her. But again, there's some serious medical advice she gives that's not science-based. It's actually kind of dangerous. She's actually recommended, I won't, this is a nice family-friendly show. I won't say specifically what she's recommended women do with their private parts, but let's just say you could really injure yourself or get a very serious infection. So again, her advice is not based on sound medical sort of research or evidence. So yeah, she can be quite bad, I think.
Well, and you kind of juxtapose this in your column at A Culture Rated. You say, well, when Jennifer Lawrence claimed that Hurricane Irma was Mother Nature's way of punishing Americans for electing Trump, the mainstream media yawned when Kirk Cameron made the equally ludicrous claim, you write, that Hurricane Irma was sent by God to teach man humility, awe, and repentance. The mainstream entertainment media blew up, generating dozens of headlines and smug stories. And no offense to Kirk Cameron, but Jennifer Lawrence is the bigger star. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if this were 1985, it'd be a different story, right? But the media would much rather focus on Kirk Cameron, which brings me, Julie, to one of, I think, my favorite undercoverage story of the past couple of weeks, Sally Quinn.
Oh, right.
DC socialite has a new book that comes out, right? Her spiritual memoir.
Yeah.
And in her spiritual memoir, she talks about how she has killed 3 people with hexes.
She put
and people have asked her to hex Donald Trump, and she says, I'm not going to do it because I've killed 3 people. Sally Quinn admitted to being a triple murderer via witchcraft, Julie Gunlock. I'm going to say just sort of one of those meh
I'm going to say
stories.
one thing. I have nothing to say about Sally Quinn right now. I don't want to say anything bad about Sally Quinn. She can do whatever she wants because she can. I think
you're a little concerned.
I think she's wonderful. Whatever Sally wants, Sally gets. Okay. That was super creepy, by the way. And yes, the media totally yawned, right? And you're right. I should get back to my article. So Gwyneth, puts out some pretty crazy stuff. And I was just sort of wondering, what if Gwyneth Paltrow, said, look, if you go and bathe in the waters of Lourdes, okay, or if you go to some of these other religious sites, Christian sites, right, where Catholics make pilgrimages, when they're sick or if they're concerned about someone who is sick. I suspect she wouldn't be looked on so favorably. She keeps her crazy stuff purely secular. So worship of crystals and light therapy and things that have no medical or scientific basis. But again, they have nothing to do with God or Christianity or religion in any way. So they're okay. And again, the media takes a pass on it. What I was sort of responding to, as you mentioned, this piece in The Atlantic, it's the curious rise of Goop. And this reporter is just like so confused why such a silly website would take off. And it's like, because nobody asks anybody any questions. Nobody writes, she is occasionally made fun of, but nobody really sort of expects her to answer for some of the things she puts out there. So that's why Gwyneth Paltrow goes unchallenged, because she is a member of the elite, just like the press is. And if you're a nut, if you say crazy things, but you're a member of the elite, you're often not questioned. So that was sort of my point in the of the article, is saying like the press has created this, an unwilling, media that's unwilling to ask questions of Gwyneth Paltrow and her very successful, very lucrative website. They're the problem, not Gwyneth Paltrow.
Talking again with Julie Gunlock from the Independent Women's Forum. Absolutely. But as you say, there are, some ideas that are automatically going to get a pass, depending. And it's again, I think you make a good point about, if Gwyneth Paltrow, somebody of her stature, if she were to convert to Christianity very outspokenly, right, would she lose some of her luster?
Totally.
Would she not be as big a Hollywood celebrity? And I think that you're right about that. There are just some opinions that are going to go, they'll let it slide because you're a celebrity, and then there's some that are just going to be a bridge too far, right?
Right.
And it's weird that killing 3 people via witchcraft is not a bridge too far, but going to Lourdes would be. That is kind of odd. The New York Times also had a piece about women and ideology. This was part of their Red Century series, and I'll be honest with you, Julie. The article itself by Helen Gao is not as insipid as the New York Times tweet about the story was.
Oh, right.
Which was something like, communism was bad, but it taught, Chinese communism taught women to dream big.
It's astonishing. It's astonishing what we are kind of seeing, the revisionist sort of history going on here. But look, this is nothing new. For years, members of the media and members of the left have refused to accept the millions, hundreds of millions of deaths that occurred because of communism. Whether it's Stalin or the leaders of the Soviet Union that followed, and not just the Soviet Union. What is happening in China to this day? Women are forced to get abortions. Women are told you can only have one child. The communist countries, totalitarian countries, they're brutal towards women, and so it's kind of disgusting to see this sort of narrative, but not at all surprising.
Yeah, for all its flaws, the communist revolution taught Chinese women to dream big. Well, that's a line in Helen Gao's
You've
piece.
seen
Yeah,
this too with Linda Sarsour, who is, she's one of the leaders of the Women's March. She wears the hijab. She is she promotes Sharia law. And we've seen this too. Sharia law, I don't need to tell your viewers what Sharia law is. It's incredibly brutal towards women, and women have no rights under Sharia law. None. Not who they marry, not to raise their children, not to own property, not to vote. The list goes on and on. You can be beaten. There's just, it's a horrible, brutal form of government, or really law, law that women live under in many countries. And Linda Sarsour she puts out these tweets that say, well, you won't think so badly. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said something like, you won't think so badly of Sharia law when your credit card bills disappear. I mean, what? But I have to, but I'm 13 and I have to marry a 78-year-old guy, or, I'm raped and I'm punished for it, or, I mean, I can go down the list of brutalities women suffer under Sharia law. And then she picks out, and I don't even understand that tweet, but we see this kind of stuff all the time on the left. And a refusal, of course, from elitists and leftists in this country to recognize the brutalities that women suffer in these other countries.
Yeah, well, you were talking about Linda Sarsour. You were going to, I think, talk about what she had said about North Korea.
Well, that's another great
this week,
moment. Right? No. Remind me of what she said.
Well, it was, again, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something like, if this country's so great, well, we don't have a whole lot of North Koreans, looking to leave to get out, right?
Would be lining up.
Yeah. Yeah, people lining up to leave.
Right.
Where are they? If North Korea sucks so bad, well, there are defectors.
Chelsea Handler also this week suggested that the North Korean leader is somehow better than Trump. I mean, she might want to read that young boy Otto. I can't remember his last name.
Otto Warmbier.
Yeah, Otto Warmbier. His parents have just come out with an interview talking about how he was deaf, he was blind, his teeth had been knocked out. He was, the horrible atrocities that poor boy suffered. So I find all of this really disturbing that, they sort of, tweet out these suggestions that Trump is so much worse. They know nothing about that regime, what really occurs in North Korea. It's truly horrifying. And if they did know it, they'd probably still tweet it out just to be funny.
That's the thing. Like, unfortunately, I think you're right. I think if they did know, there was a book that came out a couple of years ago, and I'm probably not going to get the name correct, but the book is called The Girl with Seven Names, and it's by a woman named Hyunsu Lee, I believe. And she was a defector from North Korea. She didn't mean to be. She lived in a North Korean border town bordering with China, and she said people will kind of sneak out every now and then, right? They'll try to get out and cross the border, maybe go see relatives, maybe try to do some shopping. And that was just what she thought she was going to do, to like sneak out for a night, basically. And while she was gone, she went to a relative's home. I think it was a cousin who lived like maybe 20 miles inside of China. The North Korean government had gone around in her village and had done a spot census. Where is everybody?
Yeah.
And she wasn't there. And so she was able to get word to her mom where she was. Her mom got word back to her saying, you can't come home. You can't come home because I had to say that you were somewhere else, so you can't come home. And she has never been back.
If she had gone home, she would have been executed. She would have been executed.
She would have been executed. She would have gone to the labor camp. Her parents would have gone in. Her brother would have gone in.
Yeah. Oh, her entire generations of families. I mean, it is. People don't understand it because it is such a hermit kingdom. But there is enough information about that if you tweet out something like Chelsea Handler did, or like Linda Sarsour, you look like a moron. I mean, to be that clueless about what that regime puts its people through, not to mention the starvation. I mean, people are killed or executed, but they're also starved to death, and tortured. They do tests on people. I can't go on and on enough about it. So it really is disappointing to see this. But again, we have seen this Trump derangement syndrome, and people are going to say kind of sort of these outlandish things, and it doesn't really matter because they're just being funny. And people who also suffer from sort of these derangement syndromes love that kind of outrageous statement.
Well, the phrase useful idiot, Julie, widely believed to have been started by Vladimir Lenin. So, it's a thing right?
Right.
It's a thing. All right, listen, I appreciate you coming on the program. Go get back to the house. Sorry, your break is over.
Thanks for having me. I want to stay.
All right, we'll talk again soon. Julie Gunlock. Maybe you can hang out in the control room for a little bit. Julie Gunlock join us from the Independent Women's Forum. We'll talk with Julie again very soon right here on Cam & Company.